Hi, it's Stormywriter here again. What I'm going to do is I just want to talk about kind of other things than just the books and that. Obviously, I'm a writer and I read a lot, write a lot, but I'm also heavily influenced by films. I don't know where my love of films come from, and I definitely don't know where my love of horror films come from. My dad is into comedy. He likes the old school kind of Mel Brooks, kind of silly humour. Maybe it comes from the fact that he's had a serious job, so he likes to relax with that sort of humour. And my mother is into kind of westerns, John Wayne and such like. So I'm not sure where my passion for horror films comes from. Maybe it's because I love the horror books, and essentially somewhere along the lines when those books are being kind of changed into films, that's where that kind of transition came from, and then sort of became a love. One of my favourite film as a child growing up in the 80s is Lost Boys. Now, this isn't a perfect film by any shadow of a doubt, especially looking at it now as an adult. It is flawed, but it is one of those films that's so watchable. It's so easy to just fall into that wonderful blend of horror, humour, thrills, all played by a very, very good cast of actors, some of which who never went on to do much after Lost Boys, which is quite a surprise. But when you've got such stars as Keith Sutherland, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Diane West, you know you're in for a good film, and it is a wonderful film. The humour is brought about by some of the best lines in kind of films ever. Unsurprisingly, there's a band who's a metal band which has taken the name from one of my favourite lines from Lost Boys, which is Death by Stereo. Obviously, if you've not seen the film, that will mean nothing to you. Yes, it is a teen flick. It is aimed at teenagers, but don't think Twilight. It's nothing like that. The opening scene is them on a carousel, and that's still less camp than Twilight. It's the film is basically about a single mum, played by Diane West, who moves to Santa Carla after her divorce with her two sons, Michael, played by Jason Patric, and Sam, who's played by Corey Haim. And they go to live with Lucy, that's the mother, her father, who kind of is one of the great kind of grandfather roles. He's a taxidermist and he loves to leave them hanging around, especially to terrorise poor Sam. It is a suspenseful film. It is quite a dark film. I suppose like many of these kind of teen flicks, it's looking at the kind of coming of age with Michael being at that age of kind of hormones, falling in love, and that's where he meets Star, and through Star he gets to meet Keith Sutherland's character and is introduced to the vampires. I'm not going to give too many spoilers about the plot of the film, but it is very, very interesting. Through Sam, the brother, once he discovers that his older brother is a blood-sucking vampire, he goes to the aid of the Frog Brothers, who are one of the greatest double acts ever. And the only thing that saves all the Lost Boys sequels, which are all pretty terrible, is the fact that the Frog Brothers are in most of them, and they continue to be awesome characters throughout the whole kind of sequence of films. I think what has always appealed to me about the film is the mixture of humour, great imagery. There's several very, very well lit cinematic scenes, including the scene where Michael first realizes what he is. The scene down the cave where they're taunting him is also an amazing scene. And the fight scene at the very end is one of a great lit films between the sort of, it's kind of cliched, but it works well between the light and the dark of the scenes, how the good guys are well lit, the vampires are not so well lit. But also it has an awesome soundtrack. The music to it makes the film as much as the film itself. You've got great bands like In Excess, Echo and the Bunnymen. You've got your semi-naked saxophone player, which you always have in most 80s films. Cry Little Sister, which is the theme tune of Lost Boys, is an amazing track. And if you don't know the film, go watch the film, but also go and sort out that soundtrack as well, that particular song as well. It is an amazingly detailed song that kind of encapsulates the feel of the movie. If you want to know what the movie is like before you see it, listen to that song and it'll tell you all that you need to know. Have I used this in my books? Not consciously. There's no characters called Frog, or there's no Michael Sam or something like that. But there is that kind of influence of the vampire gang, with that leader that almost feels like those 1950s kind of teddy boys, or got that feel of the Mods and the Rockers from the 70s, that kind of the charismatic leader with his gang, and there's definitely a feel of that within the Puppet Master. Anyway, like I said, this is just my little take on one film. As per usual, I look forward to your comments below. Let me know if you like the film. Let me know if you like the soundtrack. I'd be interested to know.